I've received my Nobel Prize for new methods of valuing derivatives. And I bring that up because derivatives, as you are probably aware, are financial contracts, options, futures, swaps, and so forth that look very technical and complex, but they've had an enormous impact on financial systems around the world. They they are extremely efficient for the risk transfer and for providing financial insurance and protections of risk, which is essential to everything, including that. And they're very, very efficient at it. And uh, we have had a vast improvement in the 50 years since we did the research. I just mentioned offhand that interest rate swaps, for example, eliminated forever the need for well run banks to take one of the biggest risks that banks have, which is intermediation of the maturities of their different customer needs, and eliminate that to be from having to be a good bank. And that's just one of them. Uh, Derivatives have become a cornerstone of the financial system, and I'd only mention just the magnitude. Today, there are about $650 trillion of notional amounts of derivatives sloshing around the globe. That's almost seven times the global GDP. This is not a sideshow. This is a core. No financial institution in the world, including the central banks, can function without them and without the models. So that's the background that feeds into the question of what impact it could have in other countries of the research, and the research has had we've been able to bring uh, uh, portfolio theory, portfolio choice, dynamic portfolio choice. I mentioned in my earlier remarks Milton Friedman and Franco Modigliani, who did the life cycle, but they did that in a hypothetical world of certainty. They focused only on the saving decision, how much to save, and they had an interest rate. What I brought to the table in this direction that relates very directly to retirement is I solved the lifetime consumption portfolio problem under uncertainty. So we simultaneously determine the optimal amount of consumption and saving, therefore, but also the allocation of savings between risky and risk free assets and their dynamic change in response to new information and new circumstances. And that's a very complex problem because, of course, when you look at a typical lifetime, which is even getting longer, it's many, many, many decades, and the future is very, very uncertain. So uncertainty is first order in that problem. And so, I think that's been universal in terms of applying that, certainly for retirement, because as we all know, where you end up depends where you started and what you did along the way. And so, even early in the stage of the life cycle, taking into account things that you do now, the earlier question about saving, for example, when you're young, what you do now has a very, very big impact on where you'll end up in the latter part. So, from a retirement point of view, that's essential. Finally, I just add that in terms of places, uh, I've taken these ideas and developed them and helped implement it in Australia with the superannuation funds. I've taken it to South Africa, where we've developed. These are not for their, they have all Arun and I are talking about, where you're responsible for your own investment in retirement. Uh, I've done it in Canada, Mexico, and the United States, for example, both, and I had a little bit to do with that. I'm not taking credit for it, but have adopted as legislation. First they in Mexico, and then right after that in the United States, as legislation that you will now have to show people in their retirement accounts how much income they can have in retirement on the basis of real market prices, not dreams and hopes. How much income they could have in retirement on what they've accumulated. And that's going to be, in my judgment, enormous impact because, like what is being done by the very bonds that Brazil is, these red day bonds that you're about to do. They make that transparent with no help. Here, this is being done for the rest of the retirement system, where the instruments are not showing that transparently. And so, we're seeing this, is a global movement. Now, it doesn't move as fast as we all would like it to, but if you step back, it's there.
Maybe I can just add a little bit more to that because, randomize being the first country, Brazil being the first country to issue it, now everybody else sees the possibility that they can do it also. Uh, because many countries also have Treasury Direct, they also have inflation linked, and they definitely have a complementary pension system that they have to improve. In fact, even in America, which is a very developed pension market, about 40% of the people don't even have access to a pension fund. So in this country now, there's an interest to look at instruments that would be, taking the template of randomize and then trying to implement it here. So what Brazil has started as a small, shaking of the tree is going to have a ripple effect all over the world as well. And it's going to lead to better pension structures. As Professor Merton said, these countries have requirements that you have to report pension income, but there was no clear methodology. If you have randomize, then that's a market price. So everybody can agree that that price is used for the reporting, right? Then you can have better life insurance products because today it's very hard in most countries to get an inflation indexed life insurance policy. But this product will help them do the hedging. And so you're going to see a lot of development of products that will help people plan much more efficiently for retirement. And so we're very optimistic about where this simple innovation, as it may seem for Brazil, is going to not only lead to global systems adopting it, but also new products and better products coming out in the retirement market as well.